This is Paranormal Skeptic Academy, using critical thinking and scientific reasoning to analyze your favorite ghost hunting shows. You will never look at them the same again. You have been warned. In the series premiere, a group of ghost hunters called the Tennessee Wraith Chasers hunt for ghosts at Kentucky's Old War Memorial Hospital, where they search for the spirit of a doctor rumored to be haunting the halls of the facility. This is Paranormal Skeptic Academy. I had a conversation with my wife about this podcast the other day because I was excited to have my first patron, Andrew Waddington, and I could finally point to that and say, see, I'm not totally wasting my time. She asked me what I would do when I ran out of shows to critique. A valid question, but with 5 seasons of Ghost Adventurers, 6 seasons of Ghost Hunters, 4 seasons of Paranormal State, I have plenty of material. But ghost hunting shows haven't gone away. More and more are popping up every season. And in this episode, we're going to examine one of these new shows. Ghost Asylum airs in the US on Destination America. When they're not running marathons of barbecue cook-offs, they're airing ghost hunting shows. And for some reason, we in the US have a fascination with shows about the Amish, which they also air. What makes this show different from the rest, you say? It's hard to stand out amongst such elite company as Zach and Ryan, but these down-home Southern boys sure do try, I reckon. They call themselves the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. Wraith is just a fancy word for ghost. These guys are ghost hunters, but they're not just content to capture a few garbled voices on tape or creepy shadows in basements. No, they're actually attempting to capture, as in physically trap, a ghost. I applaud their ambition, but how does one go about catching a ghost? Quote, "We're the Tennessee Wraith Chasers. We're kicking down the doors in the most haunted places in America to trap the spirits that lurk inside. The key to catching a ghost is to combine modern scientific method with some serious backwoods southern know-how. But these things don't care if you get scared. We're a band of brothers, and we don't just hunt ghosts. We're out to become the first team to ever catch one." Unquote. Modern scientific method, eh? Backwood know-how, huh? Sounds like a recipe to success to me. The team is made up of 5 guys: Chris Smith, Scott Porter, Brandon Smith, Chasey Ray McKnight, and Steve Doogie McDougal. Doogie and Chris are the founders of TWC, or Tennessee Wraith Chasers, with Doogie working as an X-ray technician and Chris having worked in marketing and advertising. Both men are devoutly religious, and like most ghost hunters, trace their passion back to a paranormal experience they cannot explain. So which one is the scientist with actual scientific training? Your guess is as good as mine. Alright, enough with the introduction. Let us find out about the place that we're visiting, the Old War Memorial in Scottsville, Kentucky. Now, I like to do my due diligence when researching the sites being investigated, but I just wasn't able to find any credible sources for the Old War Memorial Hospital. The info I did find were from paranormal sites. The best I can tell is that the hospital opened in the 50s shortly after World War II to serve veterans of that war and the surrounding community. It was closed in 1996, and the abandoned building still stands to this day. This was a general hospital with some 30 beds, but the basement was a temporary psychiatric ward. According to the locals, in the early years of the hospital, it didn't have a morgue, and dead bodies would often remain in the halls decaying. The main focus of this investigation is a Dr. John Meredith. He served at the hospital since its opening, but in 1968 he was denied reappointment because his colleagues complained that he was uncooperative and refused to handle emergency situations. His abilities as a doctor were never in question. According to the introduction of the show, he died in 1976 of natural causes in the same hospital he once worked. They speculate, without evidence, that he was obsessed with the psychiatric ward, and locals believe he still roams the halls of the hospital along with other restless spirits.
Tonight, we're trying to trap the ghosts that haunt Old War Memorial Hospital in Scottsville, Kentucky. Something is moving in this room.
This broken down building closed in 1996, but no one bothered to tell its deceased doctor, still rumored to be roaming the halls.
Hey, Dr. Meredith, you in here with us?
Along with countless other lost souls who were trapped there in life and now in death.
Shadow. I just saw a shadow.
We've been dying for our shot at catching the spirits that have been terrorizing this town.
I think we caught something.
Driving up to the site, we learn that the owner of the building hosts a haunted house over the Halloween holiday, so the team expects to find Halloween decorations. Before they start their investigation, they sweep the grounds and take some baseline readings. Half of the team heads into the town to interview a police officer said to have investigated the site and has witnessed some strange activity.
This is the nurse's station. It's just a central hub, so everybody kind of checked through this area. This would be where the most traffic would be back and forth.
People claim to see apparitions of hospital folks floating around the ER on the second floor, so we decided to start there.
Back there to the right hallway, that's, I think, where surgery and all that stuff's at back down that way. And what do you got there, Chasey? What is that thing?
Well, it's like the nurse's light, like a patient. They'd hit the button, get the nurse, and it would light up.
Getting hit.
Check and see if those are hot.
I don't think there's electricity going through. Is somebody here with us at the nurse's station?
Since there's no power in this building, even one EMF hit could be the sign of a spirit trying to communicate with us. We didn't get any more hits in the ER on our baseline sweep, but we'll come back tonight for a more thorough investigation.
Wow, not even dark yet and they're getting EMF readings? They claim there is no power running to the building, and they test this by putting the EMF reader next to a circuit breaker box. Nope. No power anywhere in the building. Not one source of electricity anywhere. Not even looking over their shoulder or hanging around their neck. After this, they move on to inspect other areas of the hospital. We switch over to the other half of the team when they're about to sit down and interview a police officer said to have investigated the alleged haunting of the hospital. Before we move on, I want to point out that unlike Ghost Adventurers, it looks like they have an actual camera crew following them around. This makes a huge difference in the framing and editing of the show. We shall see how this plays out as the episode progresses.
Well, AJ, we just come here to try to talk to you a little bit about the Old War Memorial Hospital. What has happened to you at this place?
3 to 4 years ago, we came in there and did our investigation. And by 1 a.m., we started getting the EVPs and stuff. We heard footsteps walking up and down through there. And
Did you see anything visual?
there was this old, like, real heavy steel chair. And when I looked, there was a shadow person. I mean, basically just kind of squatted down beside the chair and darted. I mean, I still kind of skeptic about it, very much so.
And what hallway was this?
It's actually the hallway that runs right above the basement there.
The advantage with AJ is that he's a cop. He's already investigating things as a job. So for him to say that he experienced something paranormal, I mean, it's pretty profound to me.
Argument from authority. I saw that coming a mile away. Obviously, this police officer was not there in any official capacity, but as an amateur paranormal investigator, and we all know police officers never lie. It's like trusting the first-hand accounts of pilots who witness UFOs. Just because they wear a uniform, you shouldn't automatically trust their accounts. They then interview some of the locals, including the owner of the property, who swears there were spirits there because, well, people died there. The team then finds some of the Halloween props and make notes as to where they're located, but they are confident they spotted and marked the fake props and can tell which items are actually real. Next, they head down to the mental ward in the basement and tell some stories about Dr. Meredith and his state of mind during his tenure at the hospital. You know, just rigorous speculation. Stuff like he must have lost his mind because he became obsessed with the mental patients, but there's no evidence for that. Then they catch something on their EMFs again.
Oh, you getting hit?
Stay back. Just stay back for a minute. Just stay back. Come here, bro. Back up.
As soon as my meter spiked in the mental ward, I had the guys back up so I could track it down. If a spirit is trying to communicate with us down here, I want to make sure I can find it.
Is anybody in here with us?
Hey, Dr. Meredith, you in here with us? Them saying that Dr. Meredith was half crazy. I wonder just how crazy he was down here with the mental patients.
Guys, I'm not getting anything else on the meter.
All right, let's get out of here. We know we had a hit here.
Let's make sure we come back to this spot tonight.
For a fleeting moment, they had something or someone. But maybe, just maybe, it was another anomaly. Darkness falls and the team heads back to the site for the real investigation. I'm curious though, if they were getting some positive responses during the day, why come back at night? It wouldn't have anything to do with our ability to see and sense things at night being diminished, which leads to more false positive results. Nah, it's because the night belongs to the dead. They review the evidence from earlier in the day and recount the eyewitness testimony of the police officer. They gear up and say a little prayer.
Fist bump to the big man. Holy Father, thank you, God, for this another day you've given us to be alive and well. Please walk with us as we go in through here. Lead, guide, guard, and direct. Save the lost is our prayer. Amen.
Back from commercial, the team is inside the hospital and the investigation begins with their primary objective of finding Dr. Meredith and any tortured souls and extracting them from the site and sending them where they don't say. They begin with the usual ghost hunting shtick and conduct an EVP session. They begin in the basement where they hope to catch disembodied voices and ghost noises. They start to ask questions to Dr. Meredith and instruct him to turn off the flashlight they have laying on the ground if he can hear them, and they hear a noise and see a shadow, but the flashlight remains on.
You are no...
Anybody down there?
Shadow. I just saw a shadow.
Dude, that was so obviously a shadow of a cameraman or one of you two knuckleheads. Remember how I said they had a film crew? Well, right here you can see some clever editing. In most ghost hunting shows, they either have a static camera and later see the footage, or they miss it with their handhelds. But here, right before he says he saw a shadow, they edited the footage of the shadow right before that. And then he said he saw it, but the camera that was filming him was on the side, not facing down the hall where the shadow came from. It was probably captured by another cameraman. Add in multiple light sources and the chances of this actually being a ghost drop so low as not to be worth calculating. They continued to egg on the spirit and see and hear something else. Footsteps. Heading down the hall, they find nothing, but they realize something was messing with their equipment.
We're gonna take this camera out, dude. The battery's dead.
All the way?
Yep.
Was it fully charged?
Yes, sir.
Did you drain our battery? I'm getting a bad feeling that whatever's down here wants nothing to do with us. First we heard footsteps, then we saw its shadow dart down the hall, and finally it drained our camera battery. If this is the spirit of a mental patient, it's doing everything in its power to avoid being detected.
No other explanation exists to explain a dead battery. Therefore, ghost. We meet up with the other half of the team in the ER waiting room and they start questioning the spirits and making calls to the good doctor. They then get a hit on their EMF reader.
Whoa, got a K2 hit. K2 hit right there. It blipped to orange. Still blipping. Are you here with us now? Can you light the K2 up to red?
My research found that when Dr. Meredith lost his job, he fought that decision all the way to the U.S. Court of Appeals. He was removed from the hospital permanently, but did not go quietly. Maybe we can use this information to get a response from his spirit.
Good idea. Start insulting this alleged spirit to elicit a response. Instead of concluding it was just another anomaly, they try a different approach. A phone app that plays hospital noises. That'll get a response for sure. I guess all spirits are dumb in the afterlife because they do things not even my 3-year-old would fall for.
Need a doctor. Can you come in here with us? Code red, code red.
Paging all doctors right now.
Dude, I figured we'd have more stuff going on 1K2 blip.
That's all we've had so far.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Better luck next time. We head back down to the other guys, and now they're in an operating room where the police officer alleged to have seen a shadow person. They search around and are pulled towards a room where the EMF starts going crazy.
Are you a nurse? Whoa. You are a nurse?
Bingo.
Dude.
So you were a nurse? Did you work at...
Yep.
I just got the chills up my right side.
What were you, are you trying to tell us something? Whoa, look, I'm pegged, dude. What are you trying to tell us?
Are you in here?
Now this is just mind-blowingly awesome. Dude is holding the EMF in one hand, a flashlight in another, and in the hand with the EMF, he is holding a voice recorder right on top of it. I don't think I need to explain how EMF works again, but the amazing part is this. He keeps moving the EMF to a certain spot, and he gets a reading. He moves away, and it stops. Then back to the same spot, and gets a reading. Now here's the funny part. As his buddy is asking the questions, and when they are waiting for a response, he moves the EMF back to the same spot where he was getting the reading. Confirmation bias at its finest.
Got a sign here that says Dr. Weiss.
Do you know a Dr. Weiss?
What's that, dude? What?
Do you know a Dr. Weiss? Do you know a Dr. Weiss? We need to have Porter evaluate that later.
So you Dr. Weiss?
Do you know who Dr. Weiss is?
Are you in here?
Whoa. I heard yes, like really clearly, like it was someone in the next room whispering it, like an actual living person, maybe even a member of the crew, or maybe I'm just being cynical, and it really was a ghost whisper. They continue on and notice the movement again. Then their equipment malfunctions. I'm sorry, a ghost messes with it. Then they play the EMF game again, asking questions and moving it to a spot to get a reaction.
Were you the one that drained our battery?
Is there more than one of you that resides here?
Whoa.
Is there more than 5 of you here? Okay. What about 15? 14? 13?
13. That's like the
13
worst
ghosts.
number.
Hey, wasn't that a movie? 13 Ghost? They continue to move the EMF and get responses to questions. Now this is where they differ from other ghost hunting shows. They stop and review the evidence, and they use the evidence to help them set up their ghost traps. You know, to catch the ghost during the next night.
What's up?
What's going on, guys?
What do we got for evidence?
Well, we've got some EVPs.
All right.
Did we catch any one of those 13 ghosts that we seem to be speaking with tonight?
Upstairs, you found a physician's name.
Got a sign here that says Dr. Weiss.
Do you know a Dr. Weiss?
Take a listen and see what you think.
Do you know a Dr. Weiss?
Was.
Oh, wow.
Dude, no way, man.
Let me see if I can enhance it a little more here.
Do you know a Dr. Weiss?
Oh, my God, dude. That's
Did I
clear
just
as
say
day.
Weiss?
You heard it.
Yeah.
So rather than Dr. Weiss, it corrects you to say Dr. Weiss.
Sure, I'm probably not the first person that ever mispronounced it.
I guess he showed you.
I've caught a lot of EVPs before, but I've never had a spirit try to teach me how to talk.
Do you know a Dr. Weiss?
I've got to get out there and do some research and determine if Dr. Weiss is dead or alive and if he's one of those 13 ghosts that they were talking about.
Well, that's why we do this, man. We try to get reactions the first night to see if we got anything we can dig for on the second day.
For sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have another EVP, and this one came from the mental ward in the basement.
Me and dude.
You and Duke, take a listen to this, see what you think.
Oh, my God.
Mother. Said, get out, right?
Said,
Is
get
that
out.
what you hear? Dude.
It's a 2-word command, get out.
Yep. The EVP that we captured in the morgue confirms my suspicion that whatever's lurking down there does not want to be seen. Maybe it's the angry spirit of a patient who was once locked in this mental ward. Well, since they want us to get out and leave them alone, let's go back in there tomorrow and rile them up a little
Piss them
bit.
off a little more. See if we can't catch them.
I think we got to remember, guys, just because we didn't catch anything that had to do with Dr. Meredith don't mean he ain't still here.
That's right.
He could have been one of them 13, who knows?
Well, I'm ready for some rest.
Do
Get
this.
some sleep and think on these 13 ghosts, boys.
Sorry for the long clip, but it's important to watch or hear how these guys work through their evidence. And if you want to watch, head over to patreon.com/PSA to see the full video of this episode. You see, I thought the voice said yes, but they thought it said Weiss, as in the last name of the doctor. So you can see how easy it is for us to think we hear one thing and someone else hears something else entirely different. Now, a rational person would understand this to be pareidolia, but whoever said ghost hunters are rational? Early the next morning, they are back at the site and uncover some truth about Dr. Weiss.
What's happening?
I did some digging on Dr. Weiss, and I found out that he's still alive and practicing medicine. My research has shown that Dr. Weiss is a general practitioner that worked at the hospital in the early 90s. So clearly it can't be his spirit inside. It must be someone that knew him, and that's why they're correcting Doogie when he mispronounced his name.
Wow. I mean, just wow. These guys refuse to accept any other explanation, even when the first explanation is wrong. The guy is still alive, so it can't be him. Must be someone who knew him, right? Of course, it can't be that you just heard some random noise and assumed it was a ghost. Nah, that can't be it. It still has to be a ghost. So our boys devised some traps to capture these 13 ghosts. Maybe they should build a special ghost house to contain them all. I swear that was a plot to a movie I saw once.
Battery drainage is a paranormal phenomenon that we experience sometimes when investigating. The theory is that ghosts are feeding off the battery's energy so that they can try to manifest themselves. By using a solar panel, we could reverse this by sucking the spirit's energy back into a battery.
What the Solar panels use electromagnetic waves to convert EMFs into energy. Fool, that's not how solar panels work. Solar panels use photovoltaic cells to convert photons to energy, not EMFs. And we expect to trust these guys to conduct a scientific experiment using modern scientific method? They go hunting for solar panels, and this being backwoods Kentucky, they just can't stop by the local Walmart and buy what they need, so they find a guy that lives off the grid and has everything they need. Lucky them, they build this device they call a...
I've come up with an idea I'm calling the Solar Panel Ghost Zapper Trap. It's basically a large electrified fence with a solar panel in the middle. In theory, the entity will be attracted to the electricity coming from the fence and get absorbed into the solar panel. Once inside, the spirit will be trapped in a capacitor battery that will store the energy.
It's basically a great big bug zapper.
These guys need to be slapped for calling this a theory, and they need to be slapped for pretending to understand science. Doogie and Chris go antiquing for some old hospital equipment, so now we have ghost hunters mixed with American pickers. They get back to the site and show off their finds from antiquing and their redneck MacGyver ghost trap. Yes, they're trying to trap the energy of a ghost in a battery using solar panels. I give you America's next renewable resource. Wait a minute, that gives me a business idea.
Ah, my flashlight went dead.
No worries, I have ghost batteries.
Ghost batteries? What are those?
These are batteries powered by the energy of ghost.
Wow, how do they work?
Well, no one really knows, but it's believed ghosts emit electromagnetic fields, and we take that electromagnetic field and somehow transfer that energy into a rechargeable battery.
Like with solar panels?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Ghost batteries, because they don't die, they just pass on to the next plane of existence. The team is back inside and continuing where they left off after last night's investigation, and they fail to get a response in the basement, so they move up to the operating room. Same song and dance as they try to elicit another response, and they're doing this so they can find a good spot to set their trap.
Hey, Doogie.
Oh, getting hits on golf.
Okay, so I know you're standing here listening, okay? If we can help you travel outside of these places that are bad, or just places that you may not want to be anymore, we can take you out, have a proper ceremony and get you to where you need to go.
But in order for us to help you, you have to cooperate with us and let us know you're here.
So if you're the one I talked to last night, let me know. Make that meter go off again. Okay, thanks. Okay, you make it go back down now.
I just have this hilarious image in my head. Somehow, let's say they capture this ghost energy in a battery. Then what? Now I can picture these 5 southern dudes with beards walking to the edge of a large field and then just chucking that battery as far as they can go and saying, "You're free now! You're free! Run, ghosty, run!" They are now convinced they have a solid location for their trap, the operating room, but not the one from the night before, a different one. They try to get more responses and hear some additional noises, and then they kindly ask one or all of these 13 ghosts if they want to leave this place. And right on cue, they hear a noise.
Did you ask them if they wanted to leave? If you did, and you made the decision to leave this place, make the meter go.
What was that? What was that?
I'm not for sure if we contacted all the ghosts that were there, the 13 that we got the night before, but I know that we did make contact with something that was there.
Now that was clearly a door, and I would assume that it was Chris and his partner coming up from downstairs, not a ghost. But that's just me. Again, we have the guys assuming there are 13 ghosts based on last night's investigation, or maybe one of them is Tom Prince or the Firstborn or Matthew Lillard. Now the chase is on to lure these poor defenseless ghosts into their trap. They get their trap set up and use the broken down equipment they found antiquing to lure the ghosts towards the trap. And then they get EMF spikes and assume it was an answer to their questions.
Were you a nurse in this room that lost your life?
We're still getting blips over here, man. Something's here.
I've got a temperature drop. Temperature drop.
Temperature drops are another sign that a spirit may be trying to manifest itself. Instead of draining batteries for energy, they can drain heat from a room. With our meters going off and this temperature drop, I definitely think that there are spirits with us right now.
Well, duh. Everyone knows that. They call out nurses and doctors and patients, oh my. They hear noises and feel someone or something touching them. These guys are all amped up and any anomaly is setting them off. You see, they believe their own hype. They are expecting to find something, so anything that confirms their preconceived notion is going to be evidence for them.
You wanna go on a journey?
This thing went off. It's not working anymore.
What?
The multimeter went off.
Really?
Well,
The multimeter's dead. There's no reason for that there to mess up. I mean, we had it well insulated from any electrical going on. I attached the multimeter to the trap that reads energy levels in the capacitor. Somehow, the multimeter just died. I mean, there was no reason for that. We had a brand new battery in it. We tested it and used it, so that just blew my mind.
Really? You're telling me your redneck ghost trap had a malfunction? Shocking.
The battery's working now.
What?
No way.
Get out of here.
What in the hell?
The battery seemed to reset itself and turn back on. The only thing that we could think of is maybe some type of power surge. And then we looked at the readings, and this thing had more energy in it than we had seen in it all night.
This thing apparently caught
Give me a
something.
light, give me a light, give me a light.
A pitch black room with a solar panel and it's gathering the energy from somewhere is just crazy, man. I think we caught something in it and just didn't know it.
So you're saying that our capacitor
Yeah, it's charged.
look.
So I think this thing worked.
Oh snap, I spoke too soon. I guess I really did catch a ghost. Wait, wasn't the chicken wire powered to set off a spark when the two touched, you know, to attract the ghost to it? Where's that power source? Could that have charged the battery or even messed with the multimeter? So you mean to tell me a solar panel with no light source that works off of photons was able to capture electromagnetic energy? So this ghost not only defies the laws of physics, it can also rework pieces of equipment to do something that's not capable of doing? Damn, I guess these ghosts can do just about anything when there's no restrictions put on them. The team then closes up shop and reviews the evidence.
You make a noise, the doctor will come help you.
All right, now listen to enhanced. You can hear it way back in the background.
I heard it that time. It's help me.
Help me.
That wasn't help me.
Man, that's nuts.
Usually we're getting things running away from us, and this one's wanting some help.
Folks, this is how pareidolia works, and they just beautifully demonstrated it. That was freaking low-level background static, and they thought they heard help me? Ugh. Now let's see some of their visual evidence.
So it's in the darkness, you can't really see a lot there, but watching the enhanced. Right in the doorway.
Yeah,
right there. It's really odd.
It seems like it's disappearing as it goes back. It's disappearing.
It's something trying to get enough energy to make itself visible.
My theory on this evidence is that the spirit was trying to materialize, but it didn't have enough energy to do so. Hopefully that's because the trap sucked it all up.
Yep, it was your trap that did it. The video is grainy and purple, not the clearest of images. Then they enhance it, which is basically altering the footage until you get the results you were looking for, and not much is there. Now that we have captured this ghost, allegedly, the ethical question is what to do with it.
If these are good things, what are we going to do with it if we did catch something in this trap?
Well, I say we just take it out to a nice place and just discharge the capacitor.
I agree. It wasn't an evil spirit, so let's discharge it, give it a proper ceremony so it can move on.
Let it go. I like it, man. Stick it in the Faraday cage and see what we got.
So they set up their Faraday cage, which is designed to create a clean environment free of outside interference. They try to elicit a response from the ghost by watching, listening, and waiting for a temperature change from inside the box. They theorize that if they caught a ghost, they should see a response from the battery.
There anybody in there? Dr. Meredith, you in there?
Can you make it warmer? 1.0.
What the hell?
Have you heard anything?
No.
The only thing is the temperature.
Fellas, I just don't know just about a temperature change.
I think what happened, it was just the temperature was just
getting
balancing,
settled.
getting settled in the box.
Yeah.
A lot of these theories, just threw up in my mouth a little bit by calling it that, rely on a lot of special pleading to be correct. A lot of assumptions have to be met. So assuming you captured a ghost, and your trap worked, and assuming ghosts give off EMFs, and assuming solar panels can capture EMFs, which they can't, and assuming ghosts even exist at all, if one of the links in this chain is broken, your theory crumbles. And the link in this chain broke a long time ago. But before we go, we have one last test. The multimeter.
Oh boy.
The voltage reader, it ain't reading anything. There's nothing in the capacitor.
Man, I was really hoping we contained something in there.
It's kind of a disappointment that ain't nothing left in the cap, but I mean, I'm almost 100% positive that our trap worked.
Oh,
We
the trap
seen it.
worked.
We've
There's no
seen it
doubt.
with our
It
own
worked.
eyes. We've seen the capacitor blow our meter out the roof.
Well, I'll tell you what it was. We had a lot of energy and not a big enough capacitor.
Yeah.
This thing works. We just need a big capacitor next time we use it.
Live and learn. We'll know what to do next time.
There you go. They swear everything was hooked up correctly and saw with their own eyes it worked, but it didn't work. So it must be the equipment and not their bogus theory, because cognitive dissonance is a bitch.
We've accomplished something that we've never accomplished before. I mean, we got a chance to try out a great trap. We know it works. I think we've actually contained the energy of somebody who used to work in the hospital. I mean, who knows? It could have been Dr. Meredith. So I'm definitely going to be coming back here. We didn't get Dr. Meredith this time, but we will. We got time. Another one for the Wraith Wall, fellas.
Awesome. Well, you
Let's
say
go.
we get out of here and do something a little crazy after this.
I'm hungry.
Let's go get a sandwich.
I think I'm going to hit the gym, guys.
Of course.
Why don't you find some sleeves?
RocketPro.com.
The ghost hunting formula is pretty standard. Find an alleged haunted site, fumble around in the dark, and look for any anomaly that confirms your belief. These guys, however, offer something different. They offer a unique angle to the whole ghost hunting formula. They're actually trying to capture what they believe to be ghosts, and they try it in a unique way. Sure, their science is off. Sure, they special plead and make other logical fallacies. And sure, they still fall for the same anomalies as other ghost hunters, but at least they're trying something new. As for the evidence presented in this show, I'm not sure how much of it was staged and how much of it was real. And by real, I mean them actually reacting in real time and not doing multiple takes. It seems staged, or at least directed. Of course, all these shows try to build a narrative during their episodes, but this one seems a little more obvious than others. The evidence they obtained was not extraordinary, but their Redneck MacGyver ghost trap, it was a nice touch. Outside of getting the fundamental science of solar panels wrong, it was different. But they show clearly that even when the evidence points in another direction, they still bring it back to ghost and offer no other explanation outside of an equipment malfunction or explain it away, but still holding firm to their beliefs in ghost. I'm still not convinced, and I still don't know how they intend to prove they caught ghost energy. I guess we'll find out in future episodes. But as of right now, our redneck ghost hunters are sitting on a fat old goose egg when it comes to catching a ghost. This has been Paranormal Skeptic Academy. If you like what I do, head on over to patreon.com/PSA, and for as little as $2 an episode, you can help support my efforts. Each patron will receive the video version of the normal episodes, along with a special RSS feed to add to your favorite podcatcher. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at cweb619. Send me feedback at paranormalskepticacademy@gmail.com. Like the Facebook page, and leave me a review on iTunes and Stitcher. This has been Paranormal Skeptic Academy, schooling your favorite ghost hunters.